The night was too quiet for the O'Keefe mansion, a place usually humming with the sound of distant generators, the rustle of palm leaves outside, and the occasional laughter echoing through its marble halls. But tonight, silence wrapped the house like a blanket, broken only by the ticking of the grand clock in the living room. Chike, the only son of Chief O'Keefe, a millionaire whose name commanded respect across Lagos, lay awake in his bedroom, his tall frame restless against the silk sheets. Dressed in a simple black t-shirt and gray joggers, his eyes were fixed on the ceiling, but his thoughts were restless, circling like vultures. Something didn't feel right. Then, faintly, he heard the soft creak of the back door. His heart gave a thud. Who would be moving around at midnight in this mansion secured with guards? Rising quietly, he slipped into the hallway, the polished marble floor cool beneath his feet. The shadows of the tall glass windows stretched across the corridor as he moved silently, every sense alert. And then he saw it, a faint flicker of orange light dancing through the glass doors that opened to the terrace. Curious, he crept closer, his broad shoulders tense. What he saw made him freeze. There, standing in the middle of the terrace, illuminated by the wavering flames of a small fire, was his wife, Adawra. Her caramel-brown skin glowed in the firelight, her silk nightgown flowing elegantly around her tall, graceful frame. Her long braids spilled down her back, and her bare feet pressed against the cold tiles. In her hand was a letter, its edges already crumpled from the grip of her trembling fingers. She stared at the words as though they cut into her heart before tossing it into the basin where flames hungrily devoured it. Chike's breath caught. His Adawra, the woman who wore tailored blazers and pencil skirts to the office, who dazzled parties in fitted gowns, who moved with confidence and poise by day, was here at midnight, secretly burning letters. He blinked, thinking he was imagining it, but no. A neat pile of letters sat beside her on the small table, waiting for their turn to burn. She picked another, her hands shaking as she unfolded it, her lips tightening as her eyes moved across the page. Then, with a deep sigh that seemed to carry years of sorrow, she threw it into the fire. The flame rose, curling the paper into ash. Chike's chest tightened with questions. What were these letters? Who had written them? Why was she hiding them, destroying them like this in the dead of night? He had known Adawra since university, married her in a grand ceremony where the city's elite attended, and loved her through every storm. But in that moment, watching her wipe a tear from her cheek and whisper something to the flames, she felt like a stranger. He wanted to step forward, to demand answers, but he didn't. Instead, he stood hidden in the shadows, his jaw clenched. His heart pounding. Something in her face stopped him. It wasn't guilt but pain, deep and raw, the kind he had never seen. By daylight, Adawra was untouchable, her makeup flawless, her outfits sharp and modern, her confidence making her the pride of the O'Keefe family. But here, in the lonely glow of burning fire, she looked broken. One by one, she destroyed the letters until only ash remained. Then she poured water over the basin, the flames hissing as smoke spiraled into the midnight sky. Carefully, she scooped the ashes into a sleek black box and carried it inside, her steps soft against the marble. Chike's pulse thundered as he rushed back into their bedroom, lying down and feigning sleep just before she entered. When she slipped into bed beside him, her silk gown brushing against his arm, he kept his eyes shut, his body rigid with the weight of the secret he now carried. He couldn't sleep for the rest of the night. By morning, sunlight flooded their room, bouncing off the white walls and glass windows. Adawra sat at the dressing table, wearing a fitted emerald blouse tucked into cream trousers, her gold earrings catching the light as she applied soft makeup. She smiled at him in the mirror when he emerged in his navy blue suit, every inch the polished heir to his father's empire. To anyone else she looked flawless, modern, the image of strength. But Chike now saw what lay beneath, the faint sadness in her eyes, the hidden heaviness in her shoulders. Over breakfast, in their sunlit dining room overlooking the manicured garden, Adara laughed softly at Chief Okik's booming jokes. The elder wore his white agbada and red cap, his cane resting beside him, pride radiating as he discussed their upcoming business venture. But Chaik barely heard a word. His eyes kept darting to Adara, who smiled, who spoke lightly, who carried herself as though nothing was wrong. Yet Chaik couldn't forget the ashes locked away upstairs. That evening, when she stepped into the shower, steam rising from the bathroom, Chaik moved quickly. He opened her wardrobe, his pulse hammering as he found the black box tucked in the corner. Slowly, carefully, he opened it. Inside lay nothing but ashes, fine, gray, weightless. He sifted through them with trembling fingers, desperate for a clue, but found only fragments too small to read. Still, the faint scent of burnt paper clung to his hands, haunting him. He snapped the box shut just as the bathroom door opened. Adara emerged, her skin glowing, wrapped in a towel, water dripping from her braids. Her eyes flickered to him by the wardrobe, her smile quick and easy. "Looking for something?" she asked casually, her voice light, but her gaze sharp, probing. Chaik forced a smile, straightening his shirt cuffs. "Just my cufflinks," he said smoothly, slipping past her. She tilted her head, her smile lingering, but her eyes followed him with suspicion. That night, when she finally drifted to sleep beside him, Chaik lay awake, staring at the ceiling. His jaw was tight, his fists clenched at his sides. He couldn't erase the image of her face in the firelight, the tears, the letters turning to ash. The question tore at him, louder than the silence of the mansion. What secret was his wife hiding so desperately that she burned it night after night? He turned his head, watching her sleep peacefully in her silk nightdress, and made himself a promise. Tomorrow night, he would not stand in the shadows. Tomorrow he would confront her, no matter the cost. The next night arrived faster than Chaik expected, the hours dragging during the day but vanishing as the sun dipped into the horizon. By evening, the Okik mansion gleamed under golden lights, its white walls glowing against the Lagos skyline. Dinner passed with polite laughter. Chief Okik boasting about business deals in his agbada. Adara dazzling in a fitted maroon dress with delicate gold jewelry, and Chaik pretending to smile while his stomach coiled with tension. He barely tasted the jollof rice on his plate. His eyes kept flicking to Adara, imagining the letters that no longer existed, the ashes hidden in that black box upstairs. When the mansion fell quiet at midnight, his heart pounded as he lay awake, feigning sleep again. Then he heard it, the faint creak of the back door, the soft rustle of her gown brushing against the marble. He rose instantly, slipping into dark trousers and a fitted white shirt, moving silently through the hallway until he reached the terrace. This time, he didn't hide in the shadows. Adara stood again before the metallic basin, the flames flickering against her smooth skin. But tonight, instead of a pile of letters, she held just one, a single, neatly folded paper trembling in her hand. Her lips quivered as she unfolded it, reading silently, tears streaking down her cheeks. Then, with a broken sob, she tossed it into the fire. The flames rose, curling the paper into ash dot, and before she could douse the fire, Chaik stepped forward. "Adara!" His voice cut through the night, deep and steady but edged with pain. She gasped, her eyes widening, the flames dancing in them as if caught. "Chaik, what are you doing here?" she whispered, her hands clutching the silk gown closer to her body. His tall frame towered in the firelight, his modern shirt half unbuttoned, his jaw tight. "The real question," he said, his voice heavy, "is what are you doing here every night? Burning letters as if they're demons chasing you." She trembled, her eyes darting to the dying flames. For a long moment, silence pressed between them, the night heavy with unspoken truths. Finally, her shoulders sagged, and she whispered, "Because the demons are real, Chaik." He frowned, stepping closer. "What demons?" She hesitated, then looked him straight in the eye, her dark gaze wet with tears. "The letters, they're from him. From someone I loved before you." The words hit Chaik like a physical blow. His chest tightened, his heart hammering. "What?" he asked, his voice sharp, almost breaking. Adora turned, staring at the flames. "Before you, before our marriage, there was another. His name was Amika. He was everything once my first love. But he died in a car crash 2 years before we met, and yet he wrote me letters, so many letters. Letters I never answered because life swept me forward, because I thought burying the past was the only way to survive." Chaik's breath caught, his hands curling into fists. "So you kept his letters all this time, even after marrying me?" She nodded slowly, her braids shifting against her shoulders. "Yes, I hid them. I told myself they were harmless, just words from the dead. But at night, I would read them, and guilt would consume me. Because though I love you, Chaik, part of me never fully let him go. Every time I kissed you, every time I smiled at you, his memory haunted me. I felt like a fraud, like I was betraying you." Chaik's throat tightened, his vision blurring with rage and pain. The thought that every kiss, every touch, might have been shadowed by another man's memory ripped into him. He stepped back, his polished shoes scuffing against the tiles. "So all this time," he whispered, "I thought I had your heart, but you were sharing it with a ghost?" Tears spilled freely down her face now, her voice shaking. "That's why I burned them, Chaik. Every night I destroyed one letter. I wanted to let him go, piece by piece. I wanted to finally be free to love you completely. Tonight was the last one." She gestured toward the dying flame. "It's over. There are no more letters, no more ghosts. Only you." Chaik's breath came hard, his chest rising and falling. He wanted to believe her, wanted to hold on to her words, but the wound felt raw. "Why didn't you tell me?" he asked hoarsely. "Why hide it?" Adora's hand shook as she reached for him, her fitted gown clinging to her trembling form. "Because I was afraid. Afraid that if you knew, you would see me as broken. Afraid you would walk away. Chaik, you are my present, my future. He was my past. And I was trying to kill the past without killing myself in the process." Her words rang in the quiet night, honest and desperate. Chaik closed his eyes, torn between anger and love. He could walk away, let her secrets poison everything. Or he could believe that her act of burning those letters meant she chose him now, fully, truly. Slowly he opened his eyes, his tall frame trembling with emotion. "If you want me to believe you, Adora," he said, his voice rough, "then you must promise me no more secrets, no more midnight fires. I want all of you, not just the part you're willing to show in daylight." Adora sobbed softly, stepping into his arms. "I promise, Chaik, no more secrets, no more ghosts, only you." The flames had died, the basin now filled with nothing but smoke and ash. As the dawn began to creep into the sky, painting the horizon in shades of pink and gold, Chaik held her tightly, his modern white shirt stained with her tears, her maroon gown clinging to his chest. The ghosts of the past had burned away, leaving only the raw, fragile truth. And as the sun rose over Lagos, spilling light over the O'Keefe mansion, Chaik realized the truth was heavy, but perhaps it was the only way forward.